Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about continue on the same thing. So basically, we talked about the alternative, and I am going to focus on those three new things, that new cost definitions that are applied in such decision making, right? Which is very common. Okay, so I'm gonna go straight down to those. What are they? So here's a new type of cost, okay, that we never discussed earlier. The first one is relevant costs, opportunity cost, and sunk costs. And the beauty of economics discipline is that they define these new type of costs that make total sense among among the real world scenarios, situations, right, when we make decisions in among alternatives as in management. So, I want to take another minute. These three new definitions of costs are within the context of um, this decision making when you have alternatives. Okay, so for let's talk about the relevant costs. The relevant costs, basically, this photo tells you that it should be applied in the situation, right? So if you have a square, this piece, it will never fit in the situation. So it's not relevant to the what we have at hand, right? So relevant costs basically means, in a context of decision making, is that all those things that are applied that will change in among alternatives. Okay, so things, costs, those costs that change among alternatives is the one that's relevant. If the costs are going to remain fixed um, in among those alternatives that you have to pick, which one of the alternative that you have to pick, right? uh, that's not relevant, because costs are not changing among those alternatives. But if they change among those alternatives, then it's relevant. Again, we are talking about variable and fixed, but not in the context of the last chapter. Last chapter was about, we were not talking about alternatives, okay, in a decision making. Right now we are talking about things, costs that will change and costs that will remain fixed in within the context of alternatives in decision making. So this is a very critical point. So no more the those same definitions, any that we were discussing in chapter number 5. Okay, so let's discuss that in the next piece.